Imagine a place hidden by history, which has withstood countless attempts at destruction. The tomb of Jesus is not just a vestige of the past, it is a silent witness to a mystery that has defied explanation for centuries. But now, a surprising discovery has just shaken the entire world. For centuries, this tomb stood as a sacred place where early Christians gathered in secret. Roman soldiers, rulers, and emperors all knew of its existence. They tried to silence the belief that it represented. They built over it, buried it, and even dedicated it to foreign gods. But through an incredible twist of fate, their efforts to destroy it only ensured that it would never be forgotten. In the first century, tombs were cut into solid rock, sealed with large rolling stones and placed outside city walls. This particular tomb was different. It wasn't just another burial site. It became a battleground between empires, a symbol of something no one could explain. The Romans were known for their efficiency. They controlled cities, kept records, and ensured that no one could challenge their authority. When they crucified Jesus, they placed guards at his tomb, an unusual act for a common execution. Roman law sealed the tomb, meaning anyone tampering with it risked execution. And yet something happened that even the might of Rome could not prevent. 3 centuries later, an emperor determined to erase the memory of Jesus made a decision that would accidentally protect the tomb for future generations. Hadrian, the ruler of Rome, ordered the construction of a massive temple directly over the tomb. The purpose was simple: replace one form of worship with another, shift the focus from the Christian God to the gods of Rome. But instead of making people forget, he marked the location forever. His attempt to erase history only preserved it. The temple stood for nearly 200 years. Christians who had once gathered in secret continued to remember. They whispered stories of the place beneath the stone foundation. Then a new emperor came to power, one who no longer fought against Christianity but embraced it. Constantine, the first Christian emperor, made it his mission to uncover what had been hidden. He commanded the demolition of the temple one brick at a time. As his workers dug through layers of stone and earth, they reached something untouched for centuries. Beneath the ruins of Hadrian's temple, they uncovered what early Christians had spoken of: the lost tomb. Eusebius, the historian who recorded the event, described it as an incredible moment. The tomb was unlike any other. It fit the descriptions from first-century burial practices. The burial chamber featured a rock-hewn bench, a sacred site that had been protected by the very people who had sought to destroy it. Constantine ordered a massive church to be built around it, a structure that would become known as the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It stood in the center of what would become one of the most important churches in the world. Pilgrims traveled from distant lands to see it with their own eyes. Despite centuries of destruction and rebuilding, the location never changed. Earthquakes, invasions, and wars tore through Jerusalem, but the site remained. Today, inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, visitors can stand where his men once stood, where the Roman temple once buried history, where something unexplainable happened centuries before. The absence of a body set this tomb apart from every other burial site. We have uncovered graves from the same era, each containing the remains of the dead. This tomb was different. We found it empty from the very beginning. There are no records indicating the placement of any remains there after Jesus. No Roman authorities or Jewish leaders ever produced a body. Remember to join our community by subscribing to this channel. Jesus was executed under Roman authority in 30 or 33 AD, during the reign of Tiberius Caesar. His body was placed inside a rock-hewn tomb, sealed with a large rolling stone and guarded by Roman soldiers. The execution had been public, the trial political, and his following was growing. 3 days later, something happened that no one could explain. The tomb was empty. The Roman guards were missing. The followers of Jesus, who had been hiding in fear, were suddenly filled with confidence, claiming to have seen him alive. For the Roman Empire, the situation was a serious problem. Judea was already a province filled with uprisings, and now a group was spreading the belief that a man had risen from the dead. Shutting down this deception immediately was imperative. The simplest way to do that would have been to produce the body. However, no one ever found the body. Instead, something terrifying happened from Rome's perspective. Jesus' followers, once afraid and scattered, became fearless, even in the face of death. Within 50 days, Peter, one of Jesus' closest disciples, stood in Jerusalem publicly declaring that Jesus had risen. The same city that had watched the crucifixion was now seeing a movement grow overnight. Thousands converted. Despite threats, arrests, and executions from both Roman officials and Jewish leaders, the conversions continued. The empty tomb ignited an uncontrollable situation. The Jewish leaders spread the claim that Jesus' disciples had stolen his body while the guards were asleep. Roman guards operated under severe discipline. Had they genuinely dozed off while on duty and permitted a grave robbery, they would have been subject to execution. Instead, they received payment to remain silent. This confirmed that something had gone wrong. The terrified disciples, who had just fled for their lives after Jesus' arrest, would have robbed the tomb. Yet within weeks, these same men were standing in front of crowds, declaring that he had risen. They had nothing to gain, no wealth, no power, only persecution and death. Nearly all of them suffered the most brutal executions over the next 40 years, stoning, beheading, and crucifying. Not one of them changed their story. The Roman response was swift. By 66 AD, tensions between the Jews and the empire erupted into full-scale rebellion. In 70 AD, the Roman general Titus, son of Emperor Vespasian, marched into Jerusalem and destroyed the Second Temple, the most sacred site in Judaism. The city was left in ruins, and the Jews were either slaughtered or exiled. By 130 AD, Hadrian, the new Roman emperor, made the decision to erase even the memory of Jewish and Christian faith. He rebuilt Jerusalem as a Roman city called Aelia Capitolina and constructed a temple to Jupiter directly over the site of Jesus' tomb. For Hadrian, the outcome was a final victory. The followers of Jesus would have no place to remember their Lord, and his empire would reclaim control over the growing Christian movement. But his actions had the opposite effect. Instead of erasing the tomb's significance, Hadrian marked its location forever. The Christians, forced underground, never forgot what lay beneath the temple of Jupiter. The tomb had survived Roman destruction, religious suppression, and centuries of war. It had been buried, uncovered, and buried again. Yet through it all, its greatest mystery remained the absence of Jesus' body. If the story of the resurrection were a lie, history would have provided an alternative explanation. But no record exists of anyone ever finding a body. No document from Rome, no letter from a Jewish leader, no historian from that era has ever reported the discovery of Jesus' remains. From the moment Jesus' followers proclaimed his resurrection, his tomb became more than just a burial site. It transformed into a symbol of hope and defiance, a place that challenged the very foundations of religious and political power. Authorities feared what the tomb represented. If it had been an unimportant grave, it would have faded into obscurity. Instead, they made efforts to suppress its significance. The ruling powers of each era had their own reasons for wanting it forgotten. Yet every attempt to erase it only solidified its importance. The Roman Empire, known for its ruthless efficiency, recognized the growing movement surrounding the tomb. Emperor Vespasian's forces devastated Jerusalem in 70 AD, reducing many sites to rubble. The city's most sacred landmarks were burned, dismantled, and left in ruin. But even after the widespread destruction, the memory of Jesus' burial site endured. By 130 AD, Emperor Hadrian sought to replace Jerusalem's religious identity. He ordered a pagan city to be built over its ruins, renaming it Aelia Capitolina, and dedicating it to the Roman gods. As part of this transformation, a temple was erected over the very spot where Jesus had been buried. The message was clear. The Christian faith would be overshadowed and forgotten. For nearly 2 centuries, the site remained buried beneath Rome's dominance. But in 325 AD, Emperor Constantine, the first Roman ruler to embrace Christianity, sought to uncover the sacred location. His mother, Helena, was deeply devoted to the Christian faith and played a key role in leading the search for the tomb. Under Constantine's orders, Hadrian's temple was torn down, stone by stone, and as the ground was excavated, the burial site that had been hidden for almost 200 years was revealed once more. The momentous discovery led to the construction of one of the most significant churches in history, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a monumental structure built to enshrine and protect the tomb. This discovery was not a matter of speculation. Historical records, including those of the early Christian historian Eusebius, detail how the excavation confirmed the existence of a first-century rock-cut tomb matching biblical descriptions. The site quickly became one of the most visited and venerated places in the Christian world. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre became the target of conquest and destruction for centuries. Armies invaded, religious factions clashed, and entire cities were reshaped, yet the site was always rebuilt and restored. In 614 AD, the Persian army, under King Khosrow II, invaded Jerusalem, burning and plundering the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The tomb itself was left standing, but the church was nearly destroyed. In 1009 AD, the Fatimid Caliph al-Hakim ordered the complete demolition of the church, reducing it to ruins. Yet the tomb remained beneath the wreckage. Over the next century, the Crusaders, recognizing its importance, rebuilt the church, fortifying it to ensure its survival. Despite repeated assaults, the tomb itself was never completely erased. Each time destruction came, people fought to restore it, keeping its memory alive. By the time the Ottoman Empire took control of Jerusalem in 1517, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre stood once again, having been repaired and expanded over centuries. Even under Islamic rule, its significance was acknowledged, and it was protected from further destruction. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. For the first time in centuries, a team of scientists received access to the tomb in 2016 to conduct a detailed study. What they uncovered confirmed the resilience of the site. Beneath the protective marble covering, the original rock-cut burial chamber was still intact, exactly where historical records had placed it. Geological tests confirmed that the tomb structure dates back to the 1st century, aligning perfectly with the period when Jesus was buried. This was not a later addition or a fabricated site. It was an authentic ancient burial place that had endured millennia of change. The study further revealed that the structure built around the tomb had been repeatedly reinforced due to centuries of earthquakes, fires, and invasions. Layer after layer of restoration proved just how much effort had been made to preserve this place, despite every attempt to destroy it. For nearly 3 centuries, Christianity was outlawed. Rejecting the Roman gods was considered treason, as they were integral to the empire's identity. The emperors viewed the growing faith as a direct challenge to their divine authority. Despite this, by the 3rd century, Christians were no longer just slaves and outcasts. They had spread into the highest levels of Roman society, governors, scholars, and even members of the emperor's court. By 303 AD, Emperor Diocletian issued an empire-wide order to destroy all Christian places of worship, burn scriptures, and imprison believers. This act became known as the Great Persecution, the most intense attack on Christianity yet. They executed thousands, but once again, rather than destroying the movement, this only strengthened it. In 312 AD, the Roman Empire was at war with itself. two rival leaders, Constantine and Maxentius, fought for control. Before the decisive battle of the Milvian Bridge, Constantine claimed he had seen a vision, a bright cross in the sky, accompanied by the words, "In this sign you will conquer." The next day, Constantine ordered his soldiers to paint Christian symbols on their shields. Against all odds, he won the battle and became ruler of the Western Roman Empire. Convinced that the Christian God had given him victory, he did something no emperor had ever done. He legalized Christianity. In 313 AD, the Edict of Milan was issued, granting religious freedom across the empire. The era of persecution had ended. This event was the first step in a complete reversal of power. The same empire that had tried to eliminate Christianity now embraced it at the highest level. With Constantine as emperor, the faith that had been outlawed for centuries was now protected and promoted. In 324 AD, Constantine defeated the last remaining opposition, becoming the sole ruler of Rome. Determined to solidify Christianity's place in the empire, he ordered major reforms. He funded the construction of churches, including the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, built over the rediscovered tomb of Jesus. He outlawed the persecution of Christians, punishing those who targeted them. He convened the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, which defined the core beliefs of Christianity. The empire had been transformed. The faith of the crucified man had overtaken. The mystery of Jesus' tomb and the impact of his resurrection have fascinated historians, archaeologists, and theologians for centuries. Numerous films and documentaries explore the historical, religious, and scientific aspects of these events, providing valuable insights into their significance. Here are some of the most compelling productions that delve into this extraordinary subject. Risen, 2016, feature film. This historical drama presents a unique perspective on the resurrection of Jesus, told through the eyes of a skeptical Roman tribune named Clavius, played by Joseph Fiennes. Tasked with finding Jesus' missing body to prevent an uprising, Clavius embarks on an investigation that challenges everything he believes. Risen stands out for its gripping storytelling, historical accuracy, and fresh approach to the resurrection story from an outsider's perspective. The Case for Christ, 2017, feature film based on the true story of investigative journalist Lee Strobel. This film follows Strobel's quest to disprove Christianity after his wife converts. Using his investigative skills, he interviews historians, medical experts, and archaeologists, only to discover compelling evidence that challenges his skepticism. While not exclusively about the tomb of Jesus, the film presents strong arguments for the resurrection, making it a must-watch for those interested in historical and logical analysis. The Real Face of Jesus? This fascinating documentary explores the Shroud of Turin, a relic believed by some to bear the image of Jesus after his resurrection. Scientists and researchers use cutting-edge technology to reconstruct the face on the shroud, discussing its connection to the burial cloths described in the Gospels. While the authenticity of the shroud remains debated, this documentary provides an engaging look into one of history's greatest mysteries. If you're enjoying this journey through history, please consider clicking Super Thanks. Your support allows us to continue discovering and sharing powerful stories like this one, bringing history and faith to life for more people around the world. Each of these films and documentaries offers a different angle on the resurrection and the mystery of Jesus' tomb, blending historical inquiry with faith-based perspectives. Whether through dramatized storytelling or rigorous academic research, they all contribute to a deeper understanding of one of history's most enduring enigmas. Throughout history, civilizations have built grand temples, monuments, and palaces to honor their rulers and deities. Many of these have faded into ruins, left as echoes of forgotten power. Yet, a simple tomb in Jerusalem continues to captivate minds and hearts. Unlike the burial sites of kings and emperors, this tomb did not hold its occupant. It was not revered for what remained inside, but for what was missing. Unlike every other grave, it did not become a place of mourning. It became a source of hope. For those who believe in the resurrection, the empty tomb is proof that death is not the end. Skeptics and historians continue to grapple with this unsolvable puzzle. But regardless of perspective, the impact of what happened there has shaped history in ways no other event has. The endurance of the tomb through centuries of war, destruction, and rebuilding mirrors the endurance of the message it represents. The faith that started as a fragile movement with a handful of followers became a force that altered the course of civilization. Today, visitors from around the world walk the ancient streets of Jerusalem to stand before the site that has outlasted kingdoms and rulers. Scientists, archaeologists, and scholars continue to study the evidence, searching for answers to a mystery that has persisted for over 2 millennia. No technological advancement has altered the fact that the body of Jesus remains undiscovered. No historical document contradicts the claim that the tomb was empty. No empire, ruler, or historian has provided an explanation that fully dismisses the story that changed the world. It is a reminder that history is not just written in books or recorded on stone tablets. It is shaped by the beliefs, struggles, and transformations of those who come after. The empty tomb is more than a place. It is a question that every generation must answer for itself. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel. Until the next video.